Bill Flynn is a leadership coach, speaker, and he's a best-selling author of the book Further Faster, The Vital Steps That Take the Guesswork Out of Growth. We were recently introduced by another friend of ours, John Baldoni, who I consider to be a mentor, who, we were kind of joking a little bit, forgive us, John, about how he's a busy guy. He's got his head down. He's very focused, particularly now where so many of us are just staring at these screens and having these conversations with folks. I saw an article that you contributed to recently, or at least you had a role in for Forbes, and it had to do with employee engagement or keeping people and team members, whatever, engaged throughout all this craziness. Can you offer maybe one or two, hints or pieces of advice for, team leaders, frontline people who, to keep their teams involved and engaged?
Yeah, so I'm a huge Marcus Buckingham fan, Gallup fan as well, and so I kind of go a little bit off of his script. Most people are disengaged, according to a lot of data that's out there. I don't know what the numbers are exactly right, but it seems like it's not a good number. And I think the main reason that people aren't engaged is lack of attention. I don't care how old we are, we like attention. And especially if you're really good at your job, you get ignored. So one of the things, there's data out there that talks about, just paying attention to your employees does a huge service to them, right? They matter, et cetera. So, and I know there's something like if you ignore them, it's this percentage and whatever, but there's supposedly like a 1,200% increase in engagement and fulfillment if you just pay attention. Mm-hmm. So my advice is what Marcus Buckingham says. If you're a team leader, then have a one-on-one every week and just ask 2 questions minimally, which is, what are you trying to accomplish this week? How can I help you? That's great. And if you follow through, there's lots of other stuff you can do one-on-one, but if you do that and you do that regularly, they're going to get the vibe, right? Like, okay, this guy cares about me and it's going to matter. So that's sort of my tip that I always give.
That's excellent. That's excellent. That's very helpful. Now, I'm kind of curious. Your book, Further Faster, this whole issue of guesswork out of growth, now is a pretty strange time for talking about growth. But there are also those people who subscribe to the fact that, you should never let a crisis, or you should never let a moment of immeasurable change go to waste. It's an opportunity for something great to happen. And also, before the camera was turned on, we talked about how you really get people to sort of buckle down and think about, the Pareto Principle, the 80-20. Can you share with us maybe briefly here what you walk people through right now, let's say over the past 6 to 7 weeks, as it relates to finding growth opportunities or finding that 80-20 kind of ratio in terms of time and resources spent in this moment of high flux?
Yeah, sure. Well, to be honest with you, Dave, what I do doesn't matter whether you're in a crisis or not. It's the same thing. And I think a great example is I ask people to do one thing during one of my sessions, which is bring your customer list with you, and we order them by those that you love, those that love you, and then we order them by profit. The ones that are at the top of the list with 2 X's in each box those are your best customers. Your job is to give them a big hug. Your job is to figure out why they love you so much and what value you bring to them, and then go find more of those. And that doesn't matter whether in a crisis or not, right? Clearly, sometimes I would say it's probably not that whitewashed a statement. Sometimes your customers have gone away. Mm-hmm. So that's an issue. But for many, it hasn't. It's just business has changed. And we too often focus on growing for growth's sake, which is the ideology of a cancer cell. And typically the cancer kills its host. So I'm not a fan of growing for growth's sake. Grow to make a difference. Grow to help your best customers be better and more successful. That doesn't matter whether you're in a crisis or not. If you spend more time and energy there, your business will be healthier. It may not grow top line as fast, but your bottom line will grow a lot faster. You'll have more cash, which in times like this, you need a reserve, because these things happen. This is our 3rd economic crisis in 20 years. It's going to happen again.
Yeah.
You must plan for that. And the best way to plan for that is build a healthy business.
So kind of nested in that bit of advice is to just stay on point. It's to not get distracted by all this wackiness. Just, stay on point.
Agreed. Yeah, entrepreneurs, unfortunately, the one great thing about entrepreneurs is they love the new shiny thing and they love trying to figure out problems and they don't focus very well. And that the one thing that got them there is usually the thing that kills them in the long run, which is unfortunate because so many businesses die or struggle for completely preventable reasons. And that's sort of my world. I want to help as many people as I can to understand that and then give them some tools to be able to do something with that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of history, and history is replete with examples of, like wartime leadership.
Yeah.
Your General Pattons. You know what I mean? And it's sort of like they really can't exist out of any other moment. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
can't
Churchill.
thrive. They can't.
Probably the best.
They need that moment of warfare, and the second you move on, peacetime general, it's like no, it doesn't work. You can't do it. Failure, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think the only one who's really done it well is Eisenhower, right?
No, I totally agree. And just to wrap up here, quick question,
Yes.
Bill. The question I ask everybody, which is basically, what lessons throughout all this? What lessons have we learned that we must not forget?
Yeah, so I think these lessons are like the future. They're already here, but they're distributed unevenly. And to me, there are two things that those people will come out of this or survive this better will do. One is dig the well before you're thirsty. Right? We've learned that this crisis that we're in, those people who just were growing and doing and spending and think everything's going to be great are now suffering, and they didn't necessarily have to. And the second thing is that, one of my favorite sayings is just totally tied to the Pareto Principle we talked about. Few things truly matter, but those that do matter tremendously. And this crisis is helping us to understand that before this, many, if not most of us, were trying to fit life into the cracks of work. Now we're trying to fit work into the cracks of life. And hopefully we remember that and take it with us.
That's brilliant. Bill, just met you. I'm hoping that our friendship can continue, and I really appreciate your time here today. Thank you.
So do I. Thank you, Dave.